What is happening, Colts Nation? Welcome to today's episode of Colts Latest. I'm your host, Scott Reiman, coming to you one more time from Highland Park, Illinois, in the northern suburbs of Chicago. Before I finally head back to the Bay Area tomorrow, vacation is over, but I am excited to get home. Before we get started on today's episode, huge shout out to FanArch. Without FanArch, none of this would be possible. Check out their website, fanarch.com. Amazing content on the NFL, MLB, NBA, sports card collecting, UFC, boxing, like so much great sports content. Check them out, fanarch.com. And I am really excited to announce that Colts Latest has a new sponsor for the upcoming season, and it's Koshi, right down there. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Koshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Stay tuned later on in this episode. I'll be giving my Colts Koshi pick of the week. And one more thing, if you like my videos, please do me a favor, like them on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple, and subscribe to the Colts Latest channel on YouTube. We've got just under a month until the first game of the season, and I want to hit 1,000 subscribers before we get there so I can do a big first game giveaway. So make sure you're subscribed. All right. Before I get back into the game versus the Patriots, and specifically the quarterback play, let's see what we missed at practice over the weekend. Now, starting with Saturday, bad weather in Indy forced the Colts inside for the second time during camp. Speaking of which, really quick, the video of the flooding coming out of Indy is really scary. I hope for all of you who live there, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope everybody's doing okay out there. But yeah, please stay safe. It looks really scary. But back to Saturday's practice, starting with the players who were absent. Alec Pierce still remains on the PUP list without a timetable for return, as we are now 3 weeks removed from the original 1 to 2 week timetable that Ballard gave at the start of camp. Joining Pierce on the sidelines were DJ Giddens, Jalen Farmer, Anthony Gould, and Luke Tenuta on offense, with CJ Allen, Mooney Ward, and Derek Noddy out on defense. Now, of these injuries, obviously Pierce, Allen, and Ward are the ones to be most concerned about, even though Allen did return yesterday, although there's nothing to indicate that Ward's back injury is serious either. Still, it would be great to get all these guys back to practice. The reps that Allen missed before he came back were really valuable, forced the Colts into a rotation at the position that maybe they weren't quite ready to do, but now it seems to be working out okay. It's gotten Bryce Betcher some more reps. So it's nice to see Allen back. Regarding Luke Tenuta's injury, for a guy competing for a roster spot, the severity of his knee injury suffered in Thursday's game could put his backup role in jeopardy. We're going to see. We'll see if Tenuta makes a quick comeback. At Saturday's practice, the first team offense mostly focused on red zone work, probably smart after they were less than perfect in the red zone on Thursday. Daniel Jones and the first team offense suffered some highs and lows on Saturday, with Jones tossing TD passes to both Tyler Warren and Josh Downs, but also having to throw the ball away several times. And on the other side of the ball, Justin Wally, back from injury, had a couple of pass breakups, so that's nice to see. As for the second team offense, both quarterbacks played relatively well, with Leonard going 5 of 8 in his 2 periods and Richardson going 5 of 7 in his lone period. Now remember, Riley Leonard is going to start this week's game versus the Falcons, with Richardson getting the second half. So we'll see if putting Leonard with the second team rather than the third team will provide an improved performance from the second-year signal caller. We still don't expect to see much of the first team offense, if any, out there this Saturday, but we will see some of those guys against Detroit. Now, according to 107.5 The Fan's Kevin Bowen, Saturday's standouts included Justin Wally, Bryce Betcher, wide receiver Raylan Sharp, and running back Ulysses Bentley IV, who Bowen believes will compete with DJ Giddens for the RB3 role behind Taylor and McGowan, who Bowen has firmly in the RB2 spot. Finally, while Colts fans are all on Keenan Allen watch, the team worked out 3 more veteran wide receivers, which should get a nice chuckle out of CA. They worked out Traquan Smith, who last played in 2023, Josh Reynolds, who played with the Jets last season, and Equanimous St. Brown, brother of Amon-Ra St. Brown and former Chicago Bear, who last played in 2024. Now, they didn't end up signing any of the three, at least not yet, but the workout alone shows that the team is still considering adding at the position. So I ask again, Colts Nation, should the team add a body at wide receiver? Should it be a guy who can come in and potentially start like Keenan Allen? Or should it be a depth piece who can replace a guy like Anthony Gould, like a Josh Reynolds, Sterling Shepard, or Brandon Cooks? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right, the team then practiced again last evening before taking the day off today and tomorrow, leading up to Wednesday's joint practice with the Falcons, and Thursday's joint practice with the Falcons for that matter. Now, the big news from yesterday's practice, of course, was the return of C.J. Allen after missing a week with a hamstring injury. Man, this was a welcome sight. He rotated in with the starting defense, and hopefully he can get ramped up enough during the two joint practices to be able to play some significant snaps on Saturday. While Allen returned, several players were still out, including Alec Pierce, DJ Giddens, Anthony Gould, Luke Tenuta, and Mooney Ward. Now, for what it's worth, Kevin Bowen doesn't expect Pierce back at practice this week, meaning he would miss all 13 camp practices in Westfield. Not good, folks. Just give us an update. Just tell us something. So after a strong start to camp for Daniel Jones in the offense, which we all saw, last night was the defense's time to shine. Jones went 4 of 11 with 2 interceptions and a dropped snap, and Jonathan Taylor dropped a pass. Now, on the 2 interceptions, Jones had 1 pass tipped by Laiatu Latu, which I expect him to do a lot this season, into the waiting hands of Mekhi Blackman. And on the very next play, Jones threw one deep to Laquan Treadwell that was underthrown and picked by Cam Bynum, which I expect him to do a lot of this season. Now, as for the QB2 battle, Sunday saw Riley Leonard perform better of the 2 QBs, going 3 for 3 on the final drive of the day, which culminated in a Ulysses Bentley IV rushing touchdown. Richardson went 2 for 4 with a pick by Jalen Jones on an underthrown ball to Nick Westbrook-Akine. So even though Richardson would seem to have the edge right now, we're still a long way away from this battle being over. Finally, in the kicking competition, after seemingly narrowing the gap by making clutch 46 and 61-yard field goals on Thursday, Spencer Schrader saw the gap widen again as he pushed 2 field goals left to go 4 for 6 on the day, while Blake Grupe made all 6 of his tries. What stands out to you from camp this weekend? Anything exciting? Anything surprising? Let me know in the comments. All right, this brings us to our newest segment of the show, where I'll be giving you my Koshi pick of the week. Each week, I'll be giving you a different bet that I like for either the season or the upcoming game. And guys, if you haven't placed a wager on Koshi before, you are missing out, especially here in California, where I don't even have any access to legal sports gambling. Kalshi's the way to do it. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and move out of your position, trade the draft pick, the game, do it all on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app. If you use code FANARCHFOOTBALL, I think it has to be all caps, might as well, FANARCHFOOTBALL, you get a free $10 when you trade $10. I mean, where do you get a free $10? All right. So for my pick of the week, I'm looking at the Colts win total for the season. Now, there are 2 possible predictions you can make on Colts win totals, either 8+ wins or 9+ wins. Can the Colts win at least 8 games this season? Yes is currently trading at 55%, meaning a $100 trade pays out $173.24 if they reach at least 8 wins. What about 9 wins? Yes is currently trading at 42%, meaning a $100 trade pays $223.65 if they reach 9 wins. And that is my pick of the week, the Colts to win 9+ games this season. So get on Koshi and bet on the Colts to win 9+ games this season for a $223.65 payout on a $100 wager. Remember, these predictions are for entertainment purposes only. All right. Before we get to your comments, I noticed that quite a few of them were nagging on me for my Anthony Richardson take from Thursday night's game. Now, the way you guys talk, you make it sound like I said that Richardson just looked awful out there. I never said that. In fact, I said all of the following things. Quote, Richardson made some really nice plays tonight. He had several great runs and showed what kind of weapon he can be. Not bad numbers, and like I said, he made some good plays, but there's still lots of room for improvement. So I definitely recognize that Richardson looked pretty good out there. But if you're going to recognize the good, you have to recognize the bad. And the fumble, while a good play by the Patriots defense, came due to an inexcusable head-first dive, the kind of play that Richardson has made before and needs to learn from. He's not a running back. He's a quarterback. He is granted protections that running backs are not. He needs to take advantage of those protections. He needs to slide and not try and be a hero in the middle of the second quarter when the Colts have the ball in great field position after a momentum-changing punt return from Coleman Owen. I also made it very clear that Richardson far outperformed Riley Leonard and seemingly has the edge at QB2 right now. In fact, yesterday, Colts assistant GM Ed Dodds made it sound like Richardson is here to stay, saying of Richardson in the quarterback situation, quote, we want to have 3 that can play. So if he is one of them, he's going to be here. Look at last year. You never know, end quote. Now, this goes with the dilemma that I've spoken about, where if Richardson performs well enough to be at a place where he has trade value, then do the Colts really want to trade him? I mean, they would need to see a heck of a whole lot more out of Riley Leonard to feel comfortable doing that. So unless Leonard turns it around big time, I expect Richardson to remain a part of this team. But it's possible to acknowledge the good while also recognizing that Richardson still has lots of room for improvement. The talent is undeniable. The decision-making and awareness still need work. It's as simple as that. Now, we'll see if Richardson can string 2 solid performances together when he gets the second half of this week's game versus the Falcons. Are you sold on Richardson being the QB2 for this team? Or do you need to see him do it again before you're more comfortable? On the flip side, are you in a place where no matter what he does, you'll never think that Richardson can be a successful backup QB? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Some of you have been doing a great job, but I want to hear from all of you about Anthony Richardson. And with that, let's get to some of your comments from the weekend, and we had some spicy ones. Let's start with our giveaway winner, Forever CTB, who says Mekhi Blackmon is horrible, but that the defense as a whole looked solid, and Caden Curry and Bryce Betcher are dogs. You're right about all of that, CTB. Blackmon just looked lost out there. And while the Colts are pretty top-heavy at corner with Sauce, Mooney, Wally, and Cam Taylor-Britt, that's not what CTB stands for, is it? Are you Cam Taylor-Britt? The depth behind those guys isn't looking very strong right now. Now, I know it's our mantra, but the Colts had better stay healthy at corner or the defense is going to be in trouble. And yeah, Curry and Betcher looked like the real deal after one game. Really excited about those guys. Jim Ludwig says Anthony Richardson exceeded his low expectations, and I think that's a good way to put it. He didn't look like a world beater, but he looked better than I think many of us were expecting, and that's all you can really ask for from a QB2 battle right now. And I also agree with you that Leonard looked like a high schooler out there, just completely overmatched by a third-team defense. Now he gets the Falcons starters and second-team defense, and he'd better shape up, or this competition may be over sooner than we're thinking and we're expecting. Fat Marty wants to give Ballard props for indeed getting younger and faster on defense, but it doesn't excuse him not addressing wide receiver, running back, edge, or cornerback depth, especially receiver and corner. Now, except for running back, Ballard did address all of those positions in the offseason, and it remains to be seen how productive the additions will be. I mean, maybe Arden Key has an 8-sack season and opens up lanes for other guys to get pressure. Maybe Cam Taylor-Britt has to step in for an injured corner and doesn't skip a beat from his experience with Lou Anarumo. Maybe Nick Westbrook-Akine can score 9 touchdowns like he did just 2 years ago. Will all of those things happen? Probably not. And were these top tier ads at these positions? No, they weren't. But remember, the team had to give huge contracts to 2 of their own players while also giving Jonathan Taylor an extension. And they tried and were close to getting Trey Hendrickson, so it's not like they were just resting on their laurels. But you're right, Marty. If they suffer injuries at wide receiver or corner, they could be in some big trouble if those signings don't perform like they can. Al TG was one of the ones who thought I was incredibly unfair to Anthony Richardson, calling me biased, unfair, and blind as a bat. Now, what did I say that was biased and unfair? I gave him props where they were deserved, and I pointed out the bonehead dive that resulted in a lost fumble in Patriots territory. You could say, Al, that my comparison between you also say, Al, that my comparison between Richardson and Leonard was way off. I mean, I made it clear in no uncertain terms that I thought Leonard was absolutely putrid. I'm not sure how much more I could have stated that Richardson far outplayed Leonard. You said that I, like other people, am against AR no matter what he does. I said he was better than Leonard by a lot. I'm not sure how that makes me against him no matter what he does, but do I think he looked like a guy who should start over Daniel Jones? No, I don't. And I don't think that's a hot take or a hater take. It's just the truth. And Forrest Halliburton agrees with me that Richardson needs to learn how to slide. I mean, that's been one of his issues since he entered the league. Don't be a hero. Make the smart play. Don't sacrifice your body or the ball for a possible extra yard. There will be a time and a place to sacrifice your body or the ball for a possible extra yard, but this isn't it. You don't have to be a hero on every play. And I like the rest of your assessment, Forrest. I'm not going to get into all of it right now, but the one I like the most is Coleman Owen earning himself a roster spot with his return game. Now, he certainly didn't do himself any favors in the receiving game with his early drop that led to the interception, but it's not like Anthony Gould had a major role as a receiver last season either. The wide receiver 6 on this team is mainly going to be a special teams weapon, and Owen certainly looks like that guy right now. Randall Myers and LPRC are also both in the Richardson over Leonard camp, with LP ready to just give the job to Richardson, saying he doesn't expect Leonard to play a full half against the Falcons. I don't think the Colts are ready to make that call yet, and I fully expect Leonard to play the entire first half on Saturday. I also agree with you, as you all know, that I'd love to see the Colts get the ball in Deion Burke's hands some more. I mean, the guy can be explosive in space, so more screens, end-arounds, reverses, things like that. Just get him the ball. All of you also agreed that the Seth McGowan fumble should have been a touchdown, so at least I'm not crazy there. Jack Lang joined the comments for the first time. Welcome, Jack, to be part of the Add a Wide Receiver camp. Now, I've got to imagine that the fact that they're still working out guys at receiver means they're seriously considering adding one, especially if Pierce misses time during the season. But like I asked before, the question is, do they add a starter like Keenan Allen or a depth piece like Brandon Cooks, Sterling Shepard, or Curtis Samuel? What do you think, Jack? Which way will they go, and which way would you like to see them go? Appreciate the comment. Don't be a stranger. Paul Anderson said George Gums and Caden Curry will both be stars, and man, you got to be happy with the way the Colts defensive rookies played, and we still haven't even seen their first pick in action yet. Definitely a good start for the youngsters on defense. Then Anthony Gialourakis. I'm sure I just butchered that. And Deadman both entered the chat to back Al TG by saying that I did Anthony Richardson dirty in my analysis. And I've already explained my stance on this multiple times, so I'm not really going to get into it again, except to say that yes, Richardson clearly outperformed Leonard. I never said otherwise. But I will not back down on my stance that his fumble was a bonehead play, the kind that he's been making since entering the league, the kind that have kept him from reaching his full potential as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Sorry if you don't agree with that, but I just call him like I see him. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't address John Holton's first comment. John is a Jets fan who likes the Colts, and he feels bad about the Sauce trade because he thinks the Jets fleeced the Colts. He thinks the Colts are going to need a quarterback after this season and will regret trading their pick to the Jets. He thinks the Colts are going to be cleaning house after this season. Now, if you've watched the show, you know that I've acknowledged that all of those things are possible. But you also know that I am very high on Sauce. And I don't think that we've seen what he can do with a healthy Colts defense yet. And he just seems hungry entering this season. I think he returns to all-pro form this year. Will the Colts need a quarterback after this season? Maybe if Daniel Jones can't stay healthy, but I think it's more likely that the pick the Jets get from the Colts falls in the 18 to 22 range and that Sauce plays a big role in them contending for a playoff berth. Appreciate the comment though, John. Good luck to you and your Jets. All right, that's going to do it for today. When you next see me, I will be back in my own home in San Rafael, California. Until then, make sure you check out fanarch.com, download the Koshi app, and use code FANARCHFOOTBALL for a free $10. Like my videos, subscribe to the Colts Latest channel on YouTube, and let's go Colts!